You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. All right, folks, we are in the midst of another discussion about gun control. And a group called Sandy Hook Promise, they have put out a video. It has really gotten folks talking all across the country because they really hit folks square in their mouth when it comes to this issue. And so watch this video, and we're going to come back and talk about it.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I needed for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class.
These colored pencils, too.
These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver.
I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Damn, Eugene.
Yeah, that was tough. You know, but it's a reality. It's a reality that we're living in right now because of inaction when it comes to gun control, reasonable gun control. You know, Sandy Hook and the kids' lives that were lost there. There should have been a moment of action. Parkland should have been a moment of action. You know, the Vegas shooting should have been a moment of action. These are all moment of actions that, you know, should have resulted in actual action. But no, here we are having the same conversation around, you know, what our children are now living in a new reality of being fearful of their lives of a, you know, mass shooter.
This video, Monique, I believe, is one of those things where it's amazing as I watch people's responses. This is a nation that I keep saying loves guns, but hates it when you're in your face. Hates it when you put something like this out. And it's very interesting when watching all these different people respond and react to this video because some say, oh, this is just too much. This is just too much. Did we have to see the blood and the sock being tied? Did we have to see all of that? Hell yeah.
Yes. And for that same reason, when I first started at the Public Defender Service, one of the things we had to do was a rotation going to the medical examiner's office. So I've seen autopsies and seen them pull back a young man's skull and have to remove bullets. These are things that need to be in people's faces so they understand what kind of trauma and impact there is. It's not until you've been with families. It's not until you talk to children who have lived through the trauma of being at a school where they've had to shelter in place. It's not until you've seen, as I said, the injuries of young men and women who are killed at the hands of people with these weapons that they should not have, that belong in an army base somewhere, that are not for hunting or any of the other excuses that we use in this country. So to me, the United States on this issue is like the United States is about every other issue we don't want to deal with. You don't want to look at it head on. Racism, sex trafficking, gun violence, it's all the same. Let us keep what we have and stay with our heads in the sand about the reality of the pain that's being caused.
Roland, I was very,
Cleo, go ahead.
I was very moved by the commercial, but I had a parallel thought at the same time. Sandy Hook is predominantly not black in terms of its population. There's been gun violence in places like Baltimore and Chicago for decades, and I haven't seen a similar commercial about the fact that people are dying from gun violence in these situations in a humanizing, heart-wrenching commercial to make those lives valuable as well. that can compel us to look at this gun violence issue. It's because of white kids being killed, which shouldn't happen. Please don't think I'm saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying I think it's horrible and I think a commercial is needed. I'm just talking about equity here and human equity across the spectrum.
But what I wanted to say to people though, that Sandy Hook Promise, which is an organization founded by members of the Newtown Connecticut community, look, they put this video together, and so the reality is they put this public service announcement together, have distributed, and that's what they did. And so I mean, you're absolutely right. But I'm sure though that if we look, that I'm sure there's probably some African American out there who's done something similar. But the question is, did it get the same level of national attention?
Exactly. You know what, Roland, though, one of the things I would say about the Parkland young people, and remember that when they came last year, they brought African-American young people to the stage. They had the King granddaughter on the stage. They were making the connection, and we're counting on younger people, because obviously our generation is just bankrupt around this stuff, but counting on them to make the connection. The Parkland, the video that we just saw obviously didn't deal with diversity as much as it might have, but the issue of gun violence cuts across race and cuts across all kind of lines. Who in the you-know-what needs AK-47 with I don't know how many rounds in it? We've seen the stories, and Cleo is right. One of the things that frustrates me is the number of young black kids, especially here in Washington. We see the stories every day. There's a story in the Post over the weekend, a young girl whose twin was killed. And so she's dealing with that. And it is trauma, and it is isolation, it's all of those things. But we have to, this is one of the cases where I think we can build coalition. I think we can really build coalition on racial lines between rural and urban, because basically fools got guns and fools support fools with guns, and somebody needs to do something around the National Rifle Association, because they have too much power, so that, you know, the president kowtows to them, Mitch McConnell kowtows to them. He says he won't do anything unless 45 says it's okay. That's not how legislation is supposed to work.
Well, Monique, it was very interesting. I remember.
Sorry.
Monique is real interesting. I remember when Sandy Hook took place, and there were a number of people who said that the parents should do what Mamie Mobley did: open caskets or publish the photos themselves. And again, there are people who are saying, "Oh my God, that's just too much." But the reality is this: Mamie Mobley's decision to have that open casket is what Rosa Parks remembered when she sat on that bus. It's what I remember talking to people like Tim Reed. Muhammad Ali talked about that. You had a whole generation of African Americans who said it was the publication of that photo on the cover of Jet, on the cover of Chicago Defender, that caused black folks to say, we're taking this thing to a whole nother level. And it was interesting when people were saying the same thing should happen with Sandy Hook. And so this video, I think, is another one of those, not as graphic, but in your face, to say, this is exactly what's happening with our kids in school, the kind of things that they're having to deal with.
Right. And, you know, I mean, that's a parent-by-parent type decision. There were many parents who were involved with the things that went on in Newtown who did not want to remember their own children that way. And so those are very intimate, personal decisions. And I think the decision that Mamie made was one that aided and furthered the cause of our nation. But I would not, as a parent myself, require or expect or lean upon any parent to make that kind of decision for the sake of the nation, when what they really are doing is dealing with an individual loss. I am thankful that they came together and that they made this, and I pray that those faces reach the hearts and conscience of this nation the way everyone else in the world is dealing with gun violence. Except for us, I disagree I don't disagree with Cleo. Obviously, Black lives matter. But my issue is when something like this happens and they took it upon themselves to do it, like, I can name 10 black people with means right now to do the same or an even better film and use all black faces if that's what they want to. So I don't have any criticism of the people who did this. It's on us to do the same in our community. And we have the means, and we have the resources. We have the opportunity. We have the market. We have,
Monique,
we
seriously.
have the clicks.
Seriously.
You know, we have, I still
but
hear my
seriously,
camera, but I'm
Monique, I mean, I hear your passion and I feel it. But if black people did it...
Wait, Julian, wait. Monique, finish your point, then Julian.
Okay. My point is, we right now, in terms of the people who have eyeballs on TV screens and digital markets and movies, we're way up there in the numbers. We spend the money on this. So we control that market. So it can't, to me, be said that if we put our resources together to get behind something that Ava is doing, like with the Central Park 5, or get behind another film that's being done like Fruitville. Those are things that black directors, producers, black money put together, and we supported, and they received critical acclaim. So I don't think that there are any excuses here for why we can't prioritize our own children's lives. We don't need to wait for white folks to think that we matter. We know we matter.
At the same time, Monique, what I'm saying, I mean, like I said, I applaud your passion. I think we all share it. I think that we're all very disturbed about what's happening in our inner cities. But I'm saying that all your 15 people who you say could put something together, would it get the same kind of eyeballs? I mean, Roland would show it, and he get his million folks, and we love Roland for the work he does. But I mean, this thing has gone viral.
Wait, hell no, I got 2.4 million.
Okay, excuse me, Roland. I apologize. 2.4. Let's just call it 3.
Don't be short me. Don't be.
Okay, I'm
be short me.
I'm gonna round it up and call it 3. How's that? We'll round it up and call it 3. But here's the point. The point is, this stuff has gone on mainstream media, with anti-black racism. Our lives do not matter in the same way. And we would be delusional if we don't acknowledge that. In what's happening in our inner cities, what's happening with these drive-by shootings with these little kids, is that police don't even spend that much energy trying to solve these crimes. Yes, we have to take this thing by the throat, and yes, we have to be passionate and focused, but we also have to confront the anti-black racism that makes a white child's life more important than a black child's life. We have to be clear about that, and we have to struggle with that. We have to ensure that these police forces who don't investigate our children's death, that they are held accountable.
And that means when the President of the United States is saying something about Chicago, even though it pisses us off, because we know that black-on-black crime is rooted in poverty, and it's rooted in socioeconomic structure, it's rooted in over-incarceration, it's rooted in a drug battle that was kind of imposed upon us by a prior president's decision-making. We get all of those things. But we know that there's war on the streets, and when people who are not black want to talk about that, then black people get offended. And
well, why don't we talk about white-on-white crime? And white-on-white crime. Most crime is intra-racial.
Crime and death through gun violence is
most crime is intra-racial. It is that.
And it's death through gun violence. And what I am saying is we have to show that we care by willing to acknowledge the problems no matter what. We can't try to excuse it away to say that one is more important than the other. So yes, school shootings matter. Movie theater shootings matter. Shootings on a street in Chicago matter. Shootings in D.C. and Southeast matter. All of it is gun violence. Domestic violence shootings matter. Suicide matters. So these are all issues that compound upon each other, and it's no time to be in silos about them. So when anybody brings it up, even if you know they're trying to bring up the stuff that is predominantly happening with people of color in urban areas, we have to say, yep, so what you gonna do about it? You're right, it's a problem, we wanna fix it. How are we gonna fix it? We're fine talking about it. We hate these numbers ourselves. We don't wanna see this happening. I mean, we have to lean into it. We can't be like, oh, no, that's not fair.
I don't think that's what anybody's doing.
I hear black people all the time. What about the young white men who are killing scores and scores of people through mass shootings? It's true. There's a problem with white men with these shootings. They need to figure out what that's about. But there's also a problem in the inner city, and we know what that's about. So we have to figure out a way to solve what was done to our communities. And I'm intentionally saying not what we did, but was done to us.
I'm not.
Cleo,
I'm not sure what aspect of what I said that Monique was disagreeing with, but I want to be clear. I'm not mad at Sandy Hook for making this video at all. I'm jealous, if anything. I think that people should defend themselves, make videos, movies, campaigns, legislation. They should do that. I'm not mad one bit. I'm jealous because I've seen and know about black violence by gun for decades now, and I have never seen a campaign like that on a macro scale, let alone a micro scale, that humanizes black lives, that humanize the people who are the victims at the other end of these guns who keep being black. And frankly, unlike the people in Sandy Hook, and that's where Obama went, as opposed to Chicago back in the day, there's a paralysis that black people suffer in this country because of the trauma of white supremacy across the class spectrum. I want to make that clear, that it's not just poor people dealing with these issues, but across the class spectrum, we are self-conscious about stepping up like these people and defending ourselves, because it doesn't matter, to your point, Julianne, about what white people will allow or not allow. We can demand stuff as a collective.
He is kind of putting his whole library in the hood, though, so that
we have 55 members of Congress
Eugene, the
who can
reality
make
is
some
this.
demands.
Eugene, excuse me. Eugene, the reality is this here, and that is, even with this PSA, Mitch McConnell will do nothing.
Yep. Yeah. Yep, 100% correct. You know, he's made the pledge that he's only going to move when Trump says he's going to sign something, which means nothing which means never, because the NRA is not going to allow Trump to put his signature on anything. You know, but what the PSA does do, it does, you know, create awareness. Although I think we probably at this point all are 100% aware. You know, but I mean, I would liken it to the equivalent of some of the anti-terrorism PSAs you see overseas. I mean, that's essentially what we're looking at right now. It's essentially what we're dealing with, and it's sad that it's what the children are dealing with.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. Folks, that's my homeboy there, Gerald Albright, one of the folks performing at the Luxe Jazz experience in Cabo, November 7th through 11th. I'm going to be there as well. Weekend-long event held at the Omnia Day Club in Los Cabos, nestled on the Sea of Cortez in Los Cabos, Mexico. Folks, it's going to be an amazing time over those 4 days. We're going to have lots of great food and drink and golf and spa, health and wellness, you name it. The second annual Luxe Jazz experience. Of course, some great people, entertainers are going to be there. Comedian Mark Curry, Gerald Albright, Alex Bouillon, Raul Madan, Incognito, Pieces of a Dream, Kirk Whalum, Average White Band, Donnie McClurkin, Shalea, Roy Ayers, Tom Brown, Ronnie Laws, and Ernest Quarles. I'll be broadcasting Roland Martin Unfiltered for that Thursday and Friday there as well. And so we want you to be in the house. It's going to be a great time. Go to lifeluxejazz.com, LIFELUXEJAZZ.com for more information. Packages are going fast. You also want to book it soon so your airline tickets are not crazy high. So go to lifeluxejazz.com. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.